Hello, this is Sahiti Bond. I do business development for Personal.ai, and today I have Miguel Thorpe here with me. How are you doing today, Miguel?
Doing fantastic. It's great to be in person. I feel like these experiences are super rare, so it's amazing to kind of finally do this. Great to see the whole team. But yeah, doing great.
Great, it's wonderful to have you in our office. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your background? What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm a full-time student at the University of Central Arkansas, so long ways away. But for the last 3 years, I've been really focused on personal development, Web3, AI, but a bunch of different emerging technologies, just researching that whole space and seeing what to make of all of it while being a full-time student. And I'm, I guess I'd say I want to pivot into the creator economy and become a value creator myself. But yeah, it's a little bit about my background.
Amazing. So, how integrated is technology in your daily life, and kind of how do you approach the AI market right now and all of the tools that currently exist out there for you?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot, so I don't want to get lost in the weeds. I mean, there's I kind of get the shiny object syndrome a lot, especially coming from the Web3 space, and then looking at all the different AI tools, especially when OpenAI released ChatGPT, and then I just feel like the whole market got pretty saturated really quickly. But there are some amazing tools that I mean everybody can take advantage. So like Zoom and Google Meets, you can use like Otter AI and a few other tools that just record, transcribe your meeting, summarize it, give you objectives and action items. And so I use that pretty frequently. Then I copy and paste that into my personal AI. But yeah, I use ChatGPT and Bard and Claude 2 for pretty much everything. It's kind of replaced the Google search for me. So like I used to use Google search quite a bit, always Googling something or just asking questions. But now there's not really a need to because I can just get the answer instantly right then and there. But yeah, I'd say technology is very, very technology centric in my day to day life.
So, I guess my next question to that would be, how'd you come across Personal AI as a tool, and what kind of made it stand out?
Yeah, so funny enough, I was concepting out uh, an idea of mine. So I'm really passionate about personal development, lifestyle optimization, just biohacking, just stuff like that. And I had this concept of where you create a vision, step by step vision for each area of your life, and then you slowly mold your habits around that vision statement across like a 1, 5, 10 year time horizon. And I was thinking about how to use that concept into a software application that was very AI centric. And so I was actually once I was ideating around that, I was just Googling different domain names and I just typed in personal.ai. And that's how I actually came across you guys from that. And then I just clicked all y'all socials, put the notification bell on, started doing all my research. And I mean, what really caught my attention was just y'all were using blockchain technology to secure the data. And so I'm really Web3 centric. And the fact that you guys are providing a way to privately own your data and AI assets, I was like, oh, this is a no brainer. I see it as an essential item because that's just something I was looking for the past 3 years and I just couldn't find it. I probably researched like hundreds, if not thousands, of different companies, like on a surface level at least. Nobody was offering even close to that. So that's really what sparked my attention. I mean, even looking in the Web3 ecosystem or the whole space, most Web3 companies or projects, I mean, they barely have an MVP or they don't have anything. So you're not really owning a whole lot. It's still really early. So the fact that you guys had so much already ready and available, an easy way to build your own personal AI that you own, and you can now utilize your data and augment yourself I was like, yeah, that's a no brainer. Definitely got to hook myself up with that. Never looked back.
That's amazing. So I know we're pretty familiar with the Web3 terminology and space. Could you maybe give a little bit of an idea to those maybe just now getting into AI tools or thinking about using AI in their daily lives, what the power of AI in Web3, specifically like at this time in our lives, might be, and kind of maybe like what this version of the tech revolution means to you?
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of just the read, write, own. So the first iteration of the internet, I mean, everybody could just read. It was very centralized and two dimensional, and you couldn't really interact with anything. And then all of a sudden, Web 2 came along. Facebook hit the market, and all of a sudden, you could write and read. And Web 3 is more about now you get to read, write, and then you get to own all that. You get to own all your data. It's about owning your own private internet and being able to, I guess, reap value in the internet. So it's like the internet of value. It's applying value to every data transaction in the digital world that's connected to the physical world. So most people, they are looking for AI tools to just solve their problems and increase their productivity instantly. And I honestly think that's a terrible way to look at this, just because it's an extremely fast-paced environment and it's already super saturated. And I mean, just the clickbait titles like, "Oh, this ChatGPT killer," and like, there's just no such thing. Uh, and all these applications, they're just scrapped together, really poorly put, and everything's a lot of the market's built off of just GPT. So it's not even like an AI company. It's just a software. It's just a software company that developed the user interface, and they're just using someone else's AI. So I mean, they're not even an AI company. And I think people need to look out for that, because with pretty much 99.9% of all the AI solutions that are out there, you actually can't own your data and AI assets. The company owns it. And I think that's a massive issue in the space right now. And that's something that personal AI actually solves with blockchain technology, just allowing people to own their own personal language model and creating that application where it's super easy to train not only just a digital version of yourself, but you can train a digital version of a company, different companies, different clients, different people throughout history, different ideologies, different books. Yeah, it's just super empowering for users to truly create and own all the value that they create on the platform, and then they can take it elsewhere. I mean, it's essentially just an API to you, rather than you sending an API to all these different companies and all your data siloed everywhere else. Now you get to aggregate all that data into your personal language model, and then you can start connecting that, storing that at the edge, and then using that to improve the personalization with all your different applications on your device. But yeah, I just think that's insane.
Yeah, no,
Super
it
next level.
definitely is. And I think data privacy and ownership is something that everyone should care about and is now becoming more increasingly aware of. So it's a really good thing to have more advocates, I think, for data privacy and ownership, and maybe talking about why it's so important and what kind of utility and value we get when we are able to have all of that data for ourselves as opposed to it going to businesses for their benefit. So, can you get a little bit into maybe any specific examples of how AI, or specifically personal AI, has been able to kind of add value to your life?
Yeah, so I kind of just walk through my kind of day to day on how I approach things. So when I first wake up, I'm instantly in the books. I'm reading, and as things like reach out at me or inspire me, I'll just start writing, kind of just providing my own spin to everything, and I'll just instantly feed all that into personal AI. Just really just digitizing my own mind, my own thoughts, how I think, and programming my AI to be more creative and encapsulate all of the value I'm reaping, like in my day to day. And if I ever have a question, I just reference my personal AI, and sometimes it might not get it like fully right, but it gives me exactly what's needed in order to spark the rest of the memory, and then I can rewrite it, and all of a sudden it just got better, and it just helped me like remember something that everybody basically goes through their day to day life and only remembers about 10 to 13% of everything. So 87 to 90% of everything we take in is lost. So I see this as a way to now have 100%, near 100% memory. And I still think it's really early on because right now it's just chat based, but we're going to be able to speak into it. It's going to be able to like take all your audio data 24/7, or just control when you want it to intake that audio data. You'll be able to train it so much quicker. And yeah, I think that's going to be super powerful. I don't think people are going to want to use a product like that where the company owns all their data or stores it in the cloud, where that's a data risk, because that's their identity. So I think it's really important that blockchains users get to privately own and control and utilize their data and AI assets. And I'd say when I'm trying to make content, for example, I'll ask it to a question about data privacy or Web3, and it can just write out a piece just based off of any information that I've fed it in the past, and it helps me with content ideation. So if I actually see a post that somebody else posted, I can take that copy and paste that into my personal AI, and then ask it to rewrite this article or this Twitter post in my own words, based off of my own opinions. So now you're taking the same format of other content and then just rewriting it in your own words. So it's like an anti-plagiarism type of tool. And that's a massive value prop for content creators, just because instead of having to spend so much time in ideation and just sitting there writing it down, you can just take other people's content and then ask it to rewrite it in your own words. So once you have all the context of your opinions and beliefs about everything in your life, like everything in your expertise, now you can just use that to prompt it to rewrite things and have an infinite number of pieces of content,
Yeah. And I think as we're listening to that, and probably for a lot of listeners, hearing that might almost raise some concerns, right? And I think it's worth discussing is a matter of how much of the knowledge that we incorporate into our daily beliefs and regular practices is actually knowledge consumed from others we trust or from the expertise of others we trust. And maybe how is your AI kind of a reflection of your learnings throughout time, in that sense of learning, whether it's from other people or ideologies that you've taken bits and pieces of and then added your own opinion to?
Yeah.
How has that
That's an interesting question. So pretty much our entire identity is molded based on our five senses, on how we perceive the world around us. And our brain is simply just reacting to all of that and formulating our own thoughts and opinions. So, we're really just some sort of mirror of reality, which is exactly what AI is. It's really just like all these large language models like ChatGPT. It's really just a reflection of humanity and all of its knowledge, but it's more general. It's not personal. It's not specific to your context. So if you could just apply all of your context and all the information you come across, so like say it can read your YouTube history. It knows every video that you've ever watched, and say you commentate on that video. Now it knows like how you would put it and it knows your search history and all the articles you've read and come across, and just all the even learning records. You simply just connect all your learning records, your high school diploma, boom. It knows all, like, the curriculum you went through. You go to university, all the books you've purchased just automatically get synced into your personal language model, to like a specific profile. And now students can ask any question they want, or the AI is programmed to ask specific questions to the student around that information. So yeah, it's just a matter of time and having these integrations and these templates formed around specific types of people, and it's just a massive database of utility that just automatically molds itself to the user's needs. And so I think that's going to be
Yeah.
pretty wild.
Yeah, we definitely see how it could play out in the lives of students for sure, right? When ingesting and being educated constantly on different courses and having to balance all the different subjects that you're learning. Definitely see value in that. Along those lines, let's get a little imaginative for this last part is in your vision of personal AIs for every individual and personal knowledge management, maybe for every individual, because that's part of our mission too, is being able to facilitate that ownership from the early stage of building your knowledge to accumulating it for whatever reason you might want it at the end of a certain time. What kind of future do you envision, maybe especially for the youngest generations, on how big of a role AI is going to play in our lives in, let's say, like the next 5 years?
Ooh, yeah, no, that's, I mean, obviously it's a really tough one. Nobody knows the future, but the way I kind of see it happening is like two scenarios. Every individual is going to be eventually is going to be born with AI, and they're going to die with AI. And so that leaves us the question of, what's that going to look like? What does it need to look like in order for it to not invade our lives, but empower and enhance and protect our lives? Um, and it's all in the ownership. It's all in the privacy, ownership, and control. So you either own all your data privately and securely, or you don't. And most of these companies, they say it's, oh yeah, the data is secure, but they own the data. They have the rights to everything, and we just gave that up and we agreed to all their policies. So the way I mean, it's going to be so integrated into our day to day lives that a person could be born with, once they are provided their birth certificate, they're almost a business. They should be a business, not just a normal person. I mean, that birth certificate should come with an LLC, and that LLC owns a personal language model, and that is the beginning point of that person's private data cloud. And that personal language model is living inside that private data cloud. And from the beginning of them being born, they're basically building their own internet. And now their personal AI starts out as a baby, and it literally evolves and grows with that person. That way they can maximize their potential, and parents can better parent kids too. Because right now, parents don't have any control over what their kids see. They just get to, and that's why we have a massive mental illness problem. Everybody's just scrolling on social media, watching whatever, and parents have zero control over how their kids perceive the internet. So now we're like, there's now guardrails, and AI can enhance uh, what is intended for a kid to perceive, and that way they can just maximize their time, and they're actually learning valuable things. They're not just filling their brains with mindless content, which is what most of the world is sadly doing. And I think AI now has the ability to prevent that from happening at such a wide scale, especially with something like personal AI. Just, I mean, it enhances parents, enhances kids, and eventually, once kids grow up with their personal language model, now they have a memory stack of their entire life, and that can be applied to their future. So whatever they want their future to be, they simply ask, like, state exactly what their vision is, and large language models just simply use their personal language model to give them a personalized roadmap that mirrors their current life and lifestyle to the life and lifestyle that they want. And so that aligns with their core values, their belief system, their goals and aspirations, and it caters their day-to-day decisions, helps them make better decisions in that day-to-day life, that helps them essentially pull their future to the present much quicker. So I see personal AI as a very long-term, massively valuable asset to each person, where it's kind of like a way of time traveling. But yeah, that's kind of my general vision for the future, especially the way I want to kind of use it for myself and help other people use it. But yeah.
Yeah. It almost sounds like instead of like job matching, it's content matching to the different trajectories or routes you might choose in life. So as opposed to working towards one specific role and completing all those certifications needed for it, maybe more so having a larger picture of the life you want and the kind of knowledge you want to accumulate in mind, and then content being matched to align you with those learnings and give you that expertise to get there. So.
100%. And I couldn't agree more. And essentially building your own algorithm um, that you get to own, control, govern. And so you get to basically write the future you want that aligns with your values, and then bring that life to the present. So right now, with most AI tools, they're not grounded in your truth. They're not grounded in your personality, your belief system, your vision for the future. It doesn't own any of that. So now you can finally create your own algorithm that you own and control, and use that algorithm to build your own private internet that you own and control. And then you get to control who is invited and who has access to what inside of your own private internet. So now, instead of going to like a super specific school or university, you have your own school that's molded perfectly to you and your needs and your interests. So everything that you're interested in, everything you're passionate in, the AI knows all that, and it can now cater basically a learning roadmap on that essentially helps you build the life you want and monetize your passions and your interests and your skills. So every person's going to be able to build or be able to utilize a personalized school, and that school helps train them into the person that they want to become. Because like we shouldn't love who we are, we should love like who we can become. And once that is outlined out very clearly, now we can actually start pursuing that. And when the AI knows that, it can help you make better decisions to get you there. So that's what really excites me. um, but yeah, it's just like that's I think it solves the alignment problem that everybody's talking about. Like the whole AI space is talking about this, like, oh, AI alignment, AI safety, but they're building general models. So you can't align one model to every single person because there's so many different personalities, so many different belief systems. It's impossible to do that. You literally cannot do that. And that's why, I mean, you look at ChatGPT, the utility has gone down significantly from what it was back in its May heights, and it's not as useful. It's not as intelligent, and that's probably because there's either more guardrails, or, I mean, garbage in, garbage out. There's just too much bad data changed the model or made it get worse. And so now with personal AI, you get to build your own model and ground it in your belief system, your truth, and align it with yourself. So the way I see it is, imagine you have all these silicon sages. Like, you can prioritize which people and ideologies you want into your personal AI. So, for example, you can have a silicon Jesus, or a silicon Buddha, or a silicon Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and all of these other philosophers or educators. It could even be someone from today, like Jordan Peterson, or I mean, any person that is highly intelligent can now be put into a large language model or a personal language model and then be used to align your internet with yourself, because obviously we don't have all the answers. We're extremely fallible human beings that make all kinds of mistakes. So LLMs and PLMs will have some sort of hybrid symbiosis that's used in one application that kind of helps you bring the life you want. But yeah, I think that's going to be
fruition.
Yeah, very, very interesting times.
Definitely. We like to say that if large language models are built on the internet of data, that your personal AI is built on the intranet of your own mind. So it's essentially all of the knowledge that you've accumulated over time that makes up your database, you know.
I love that. Intranet. We're building our own intranet. That's
it's like
connected to the internet.
It's a digital encyclopedia of you. Straight.
Definitely. And it now gets to be synced up to, any application you want in your life. And with the age of AI, now we're going to have applications for very hyper specific things. And so we'll have these AI agents like living inside of our personal language model, which is our intranet. So it like helps act on our behalf in our best interests, always having our best interests at heart and protecting and enhancing us. So, we're gonna have a built-in lawyer into our personal AI in the future. Obviously, a lot of this stuff just super early, but the foundation is there already.
Yeah, not to say that it won't take a couple of iterations and a lot of tuning, but certainly can be more personalized than a large language model could ever be.
Definitely.
So I guess to leave the audience with one big takeaway to remember, and I want to gear this one especially to maybe young adults starting off their careers or recent college grads, maybe. What is one piece of advice that you would give anyone kind of getting into owning their intelligence and being able to start thinking about how to monetize their passions? What's one piece of advice you would give?
Yeah, I would say create a detailed vision statement for yourself. Write down ask yourself, if all I could do was succeed, if the only thing I could do was succeed, and I knew with 100% certainty that I would succeed, what would I choose to spend my time? What would I do? And then ask yourself, because that forces you to maximize your potential, allows you to choose between a few options that are insanely massive. And then ask yourself, if all I could do was fail, what would I choose to do? Because that forces you to think, okay, well, if all I could do is fail, what would be the most meaningful? What would I get the most fulfillment out of? And usually there's going to be a few answers in both of them that are the same answer. And so that's probably what we should spend our time on. And if you can create a detailed vision on that and feed that into your personal AI, as well as document all like your whole life and all your memories and all your knowledge and expertise, and then copy and paste other people's into that as well and start tailoring your own opinions. And so it fills in the gaps with everyone else's knowledge and expertise, but then inserts your opinions and expertise into that. So yeah, I'd say just document as much as you can and build that vision statement for yourself, and don't put as much value on all the different labels that the world loves to put on us. You're not defined by your job or your name or your location, or even the people around you. You get to create that for yourself. And yeah, I think the world's going to be much more, we got to be extremely adaptable. We have to be a master at unlearning and relearning constantly, and being able to balance discovery while also focus. So maybe like half the day's focus, half the day's discovery. And that's how we have to evolve into that, especially with everything moving so quickly.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's a great note to end on. Miguel, thank you so much for contributing to our conversation today. We've had a great time and it's been a pleasure. We'll hope to have many more in the near future.
Definitely. It's been a huge opportunity. Appreciate you guys having me on.